It's 2 p.m. Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go! Friday show, June 7th, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, or the Fox Local app if you are watching live. If you're watching on YouTube, part of the over 65,000 subscribers on this platform, good afternoon to you. Do not adjust your television screens. Do not adjust your phone screens. Don't think you're looking at YouTube or Fox Local being like, what show am I watching? Yes, there are two of us. Ryan Ermanni, Anson Wells, Braylon out today, Tom Mazaway out today. We are going to have some fun today. We got to get Alyssa part of the show. I mean, just because Tom's not here doesn't mean Alyssa can't be part of the show back there. Anson Wells, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon right back, my friend. This is the first time we've had a chance to be on the desk together. I've been looking forward to it. Very, very honored to be here next to you, bro.
You have been doing such a great job being really the permanent fill-in of the Ermanni and Edwards with Maz program, and you're doing a great job. I'm so happy to be next to you. It's an honor for me to be sitting next to you, so we're going to have some fun today. Intern Joel, Intern James, the main man Kenny G over here, Pete Spivak, living his best life over here as well. Now he's just snuck into the Maz chair. We're going to stick Intern Joel in the Maz chair in a little bit when we talk a little NBA too. But Anson, there's some big things happening this weekend locally here before anything else.
There are. A lot of you guys know that I stream cards on Whatnot, sports cards. So I am absolutely thrilled that one of the biggest card shows in the country is here this weekend. It's been in Chicago for many years, and they added a second location that is here in Detroit. 3 days. It starts today at 3:30, so you guys can go down there. Today they got my man Vlad, the Stanley Cup champion Vladimir Konstantinov will be there signing.
Vladdy's such a great guy.
No
too.
doubt.
Such a great guy.
No, he really is. And then another Detroit legend, Thomas the Hitman Hearns.
Hey. Hitman, come on.
He'll be there.
What do these young kids know about Hitman?
Man,
That's right.
That's
almost
the radio.
What do you...
I know because of the Martin.
I know, if you didn't hear that, I know him because of the Martin episode.
Right?
Hey.
So beyond him, we've got the WWE's Kevin Nash.
Hey,
Yeah,
shout
he's
out.
a Detroiter, native
Big sexy.
Detroiter.
Yep, there he is. And then Buster Douglas will
Get
be
outta
here on
here.
Friday. And then Joe Dumar's worst acquisition as general manager of the Pistons.
Charlie Villanueva?
No,
Darko
trading
Milicic?
away Corliss Williamson, which cost us a championship in 05 for little
Antonio
played
McDice?
Derek Syracuse Coleman.
Oh, my
No,
gosh.
thank you. A
DC.
favorite of Mr. Larry Brown,
Right,
who orchestrated
absolutely.
that deal.
LB loved Derek Coleman.
Now, Saturday, I got to break it down because it's a real deep one.
I mean, this is Novi, right?
Yes, it is. Novi Expo Center. Terry on, my man, Mr. Brian Branch, the Honey Brancher, of Kirby Joseph, a few more of the guys from the Lions will be there, including Mr. Barry Sanders, the king of the Lion Pride. Joe Montana's in town, gentlemen.
Joe Montana?
That's right. Joe Montana is here.
The former goat.
I don't know.
The
Maybe he's
former
a
goat.
number 2 goat these days. But
I actually, so it was the NFL draft, the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan, and Jerome Bettis had a charity event down in Midtown, and there was a Joe Montana signed helmet, replica helmet. And I was the first one there. We were down there, Woodward Sports. It was me. It was Brady down there. Kool-Aid was down there. And I'm walking around doing this silent auction and the sheets down there. And we're the first ones there. And I look at this Joe Montana helmet. There's a Lawrence Taylor signed helmet. And there's like a Derek Jeter scouting report. First scouting report ever on Derek Jeter. And Anson, I'm like, let's take the pen out. Start the bidding, okay? It's very, minimum bid. Minimum bid is listed. Like, okay, let's get that bid going. Joe Montana, Lawrence Taylor, Derek Jeter. I'm like, okay, this event's 4 hours long, right? Get a call the next day. Congratulations.
All three? You get all three?
I got all three.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I got all three.
And that is steal, I bet.
Charge yes and no. You know what I mean? Yes, I would have loved one of them.
Yeah.
No, I probably didn't need all three of them. Swipe the credit card, and I'm like, oh, God, what did I do? But it's a good rule of thumb not to be too big for your britches at these things.
Right.
So
Well,
Joe Montana here.
Early on in an auction, though, you think you're going to get trumped, you know?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought I was dead in the water.
This is a great opportunity for me to give out a shout out to a friend of the show, which is Pro Sports Zone over at Laurel Park Place. Our guy John Yu has been taking care of us with apparel and memorabilia. If you're going to the show, go and see John Yu, Laurel Park Place, Pro Sports Zone beforehand. Get yourself a jersey or a helmet and get it down there and get it signed, because our boy Spartan King Mr. Kirk Cousins will be in the house.
Oh, wow. This is a big deal.
It's a great
more
list.
Spectacular.
And this guy was ready to take the league by storm after sitting out half the season. Mr. Anthony Richardson, second-year quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, will be in the house. Running back mate over at Oklahoma State, Mr. Thurman Thomas, Pro Bowler, will be there.
Wow.
And if you're a Lions fan, or a Tigers fan, our all-pro, all-star Tarek Scuba will be in the house along with Torque and Riley Green. And let's throw a little Michigan love in there.
Actually, there are two cancellations.
Oh, there are.
Parker Meadows and Spencer Torkelson.
Okay. Well,
they may be playing for
they're in
Toledo.
AAA right now.
That's exactly right.
Yep. So we'll strike those.
Guys.
But Shoelace will be in the house as well for you Wolverine fans. And then on the final day, you got Andre Dawson. That's a Hall of Famer right there,
man.
Big Ben Wallace, another Hall of Famer.
Oh.
Let's hit all the Hall of Fames. Mike Modano will be there. Goose Gossage will be there. Steve Garvey will be there.
I don't want to walk you.
And Woodward Sports' own D-Mac, Mr. Darren McCarty will be there on Sunday signing autographs. And if you guys really are into cards and you bring in your own, you want to do trade night, that's Saturday night from 6 to 11. It's really from the national people that I know in the hobby, in the memorabilia and card hobby. People are coming from all over the country for this. They're very excited.
Anson, you're in the cards and all this exchange and stuff like that. For people that aren't as in tune to it, I mean, this is big stuff. Like there's a lot of big money involved here.
Jordan's star rookie just sold last week, I believe, for 2.9.
It's incredible, man.
Million.
It's incredible.
Million. Yeah, it's an industry that has always been normal, like any economy. But when all those $720 checks came through during COVID, it just absolutely exploded. And then it kind of leveled back down, but it still stayed above where it was prior to 2020. And the last year it's done nothing but go up. People love it. Sports is king right now.
No doubt about it. And again, that's at the Novi Expo Center. Donovan Edwards going to be there as well. Anthony Richardson, the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. It's definitely something worth checking out, and just really a celebration of all things sports. And I'll tell you, the access that you have at events like this to these great athletes is second to none. And you think of a guy like Joe Montana being in our city,
crazy,
doing this. That's pretty darn cool. So
it is really cool.
Definitely check that out. And I know you'll be busy with that. I do want to get into the NBA last night. We'll talk about the Lions as well. We'll go around the NFL. So much to get to. Intern James has a football camp we want to tell you about later in the show as well. But we have to start with the NBA Finals. Game 1 last night. Mavericks were absolutely blitzed by the Boston Celtics. This one it wasn't even a game. Dallas got within 8 in the third quarter at one point, but you blink a minute and a half later and it was right back up to 19. I don't want to say I was shocked, But I was a little bit shocked that Dallas did not show up last night, Anson, I'm sorry. They absolutely just laid an egg.
Yeah. And it honestly, yesterday we were talking, what was the one thing we don't want to see? And that's a blowout. That was my answer.
Yep.
It felt really similar to the 2005 Game 1 when we went to San Antonio and got blown out to the point where people weren't even buying tickets to Game 3 when it came back here to Detroit. But as I've said all week long, you can't have only 9 games in the conference finals and expect the NBA not to realize at least 6 or 7 games in this final series. So, chalk it up to all of the I guess, energy that it took for Dallas to overcome what they overcame to get out of the West. Because Boston, let's face it, they had one of the easiest roads we've ever seen a team use or take to get to the finals.
I think sports in general is a game of matchups. The Lakers match up terribly with the Denver Nuggets.
Indeed.
But Dallas matched up great with Minnesota.
Yep.
I mean, so after watching that game last night, I'm thinking to myself, is this what this is? Is Dallas now? I don't anticipate Kyrie Irving going, 0 for 5 from 3 or 4 of 12 from the field or whatever. What was he? While I have that here, 6 of 19 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3-point range. I don't anticipate that, but I'm thinking to myself, Boston seems like a completely different team with Kristaps Porzingis. And maybe some of their struggles along the way, Boston's, was because Porzingis was out. And I don't know if Porzingis keeps this kind of play up either. I mean, 20 points last night. He was as dominant as anybody off the bench. 8 of 13 from the field, a plus 13 last night and plus minus. Yeah. I mean, Porzingis seemed like he was the difference. And Jason Tatum again. Jason Tatum, what did he?
He had 16 and 11, but hold on, I'm pulling the stats here.
Yeah, he had 16, 11, and 5.
Yeah, on 6 of 16.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's almost like Jason Tatum can have a game like that where he goes 6 of 16, and Boston can win by 18 points. If Luka or Kyrie don't have crazy nights,
it's over.
It's ball game, series over. And I guess the big question for me is, can Dallas somehow make this a series? Can they win this series? Or is last night just what this is going to be? That's the question for me.
Not if Kristaps continues playing the way that he did. I mean, guy couldn't miss in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. And it was demoralizing, I felt, to Dallas, because what I saw out of them in the first half was lazy, settling plays. They weren't going to the hole. They were forcing threes. They didn't look as active on defense. And, I'm sure that the two of you and Braylon have talked about this. Is Jason Tatum a superstar? He didn't need to be last night. He made great plays on the defensive side of the ball. He was able to get the ball to the right players. He just deferred. I said yesterday, they need him to win 2 games. Last night wasn't one of them.
Kenny?
Yeah.
Joel? Sorry.
Go
ahead, Joe.
What I was going to say is, based off your question, I would say I was trying to tell people this is probably what this series is going to be similar to, based off the fact that Boston has so much length. And Drew Holiday, I was just telling somebody earlier, is honestly one of the best defenders, like on-ball defenders.
One of the most underrated guys.
He was great last night.
He's like one of the best on-ball defenders I've watched play basketball in my lifetime. I'm only 22, so I haven't seen too many. But he's checking without the hand check rule, and he's able to just like put dudes in a straitjacket. And I was telling people, like, Kyrie is a very creative ball handler, but I'm like, Drew Holiday doesn't really need a double team for that matchup. And I'm like, to your point too, that's like a matchup for the Mavericks and the Celtics. It favors the Celtics because Drew Holiday isn't going to need those double teams. Derek White is also another solid defender. So if you put length on Luka, like a Jaylen Brown, who's a great on-ball defender, it just makes it where you're not having to double team these players. And Luka and Kyrie are most like dangerous when they're getting double teamed because they're able to facilitate and create and get those other teammates in the rhythm that those role players weren't able to get into last game.
And Kenny, that goes right back to the matchup thing we're talking about. What is this series? I mean, there was a 6-7 day break in between games. These guys got rest, and you just have no idea what the series is. Last night, again, was it an aberration or is that going to be the norm of this series?
Well, they definitely got shell-shocked. And, of course, Kyrie, he was a no-show. We got to just be real about it. He did not show up when they needed him most. But like I said on the earlier shows, it was also his team as well. When you got P.J. Washington 0 of 3 from 3, 14 points. Derek Jones, a 9-factor, 2 of 9, 5 points. Daniel Gafford, 3 of 3 from the field, but only 8 points, 3 boards. What can you do? Nobody on the bench did anything really either. So somebody has got to step up. And we know that Luka and Kyrie probably need to have their best games this series in order for this team to go. But they also need contributions from one of these role players, being either Lively or P.J. Washington, 2 players that can score. But they definitely need some help.
Yeah, P.J. Washington, definitely a guy, Anson, that I think needs to set. You need a third person. You absolutely do. I mean, you look at the Boston Celtics, and of course they've got, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Well, they could go Al Horford. They could go Kristaps Porzingis. They could go to a number of different guys in their lineup. And Derek White has had huge games in this playoff. So, I mean, pick your poison with Boston. On Dallas, who's a third scorer? Who is a guy that can step up for this basketball team and play over their head? That's going to be a missing link so far as I could see.
Well, and PJ's been that for them so far through their run through the playoffs, but he's not a true 3. You just have such a dominant 1 and 2. But again, if one of those guys is not playing right, they're in trouble. What I really saw last night was Derek Lively exposed. This is a great rookie, but when you ask him to defend beyond the basket, he's going to get you 5 fouls quickly like he did last night. Yep. You don't get the rebound. I saw so many offensive rebounds out of Boston last night. If I'm Jason Kidd, I would have lost the no hair that I have left. And so if they can't figure out somebody that can guard Kristaps on the perimeter, it's just going to take Lively completely out of this series.
And did you see Derek
Jones Jr.?
Yeah, well, the Derek Jones Jr., but I was talking about Jason Kidd.
Oh, yeah.
After the game, talking to his team in the locker room, he's like, guys, it's one game. This is a series. 1st to 4, not 1st to 1. Yeah. Really, I thought trying to tell these guys maybe, hey, slow down, calm down.
Yes.
They are a younger team outside of Kyrie Irving. Was the stage too big for them last night? Did they come in and just think, because Boston struggled with some of the teams in the Eastern Conference, that, they were just going to roll over them? Yes, the Western Conference is a much better conference as a whole than the Eastern Conference. Maybe Boston doesn't get enough credit for being the best of the worst conference. But I thought maybe in many spots the stage was too big for the players of the Dallas Mavericks last night.
I will also say another major stat too out of the game that my biggest takeaway was Luka 1 assist. And when you, for this Dallas Mavericks team to like really hit on all cylinders, you need Luka really facilitating the team as well too. So the 1 assist, he's not able to get those players like Lively and Gafford involved. And what I really noticed too, I thought the point you were going to make up with Lively getting exposed is that he can't really create the bucket on his own.
Nope.
So like when he wasn't getting it in the pure lob to just dunk it right in, he was like always fumbling around with it, like didn't really know what to do with it, like in like a back down or anything like that. So Luka was giving it to him in nice spots. He just really didn't know how to get a bucket that way or couldn't really finish unless it was the lob. So I would like to see, that's really what's going to have to change for it to like be a better series. Luka's definitely going to have to get those assists up.
I want to come back to the stage was too big comment, because that's exactly what I saw and that's what I expected. But what I also expected was for Kyrie Irving to be the captain of that ship through those rocky waters. Yep. And in fact, he looked like it was his first trip to the finals. So, I expected Luka to maybe struggle in the first half, but Luka was the reason in the third quarter that they even made a play. He got into the lane. He did hit a couple big threes as well, but great point, Joel. You can't win a game if you're the Dallas Mavericks and Luka only has 1 assist.
But even more so than that, and I'll bring up Kyrie Irving here for a minute. It's a one guy in your team that you need to lean on, especially early in games, to kind of get you through the the pomp and circumstance of playing in the finals, get you through that first punch to the face that the Boston Celtics are going to deliver. He's the veteran. Yes, Luka is probably the best player on the team. He gets all the love and everything like that, but Kyrie is the veteran. I expected a lot more from Kyrie, and in fact, maybe Boston is just too emotional of a place for him too. You know, I mean, it almost looked like, look, he hates Boston. Yeah. He hates the city. He hates the fans. He hates the building.
Makes two
he
of
hates
us.
the team. He hates everything about the Boston Celtics. And in fact, after the game, you know, the fans booed him every time he touched the ball last night, and it was loud. Last night afterwards, he took a shot at the fans even more and was like, yeah, actually, I thought it was going to be a little bit louder. You know, and it's like, okay, I got it. I'm a Kyrie guy. I love Kyrie. Okay,
Same. Yeah.
Kyrie, you're my guy. But come on, man. You know, I mean, the fans were really loud last night. And I think, and I was surprised by this because we expect these great athletes to be such robots. I think it got inside his head.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. It's a great take. You know, you said it where you expected him to be the guy that would set the ship straight. And you don't need 20, 25 points out of him in this game. You need him to control the offense, to slow things down and get people to the basket. If you're not hitting threes, why do you keep shooting them? And then he was guilty of it himself. That's the point guard. That's the kind of the captain, at least from an experience point. He had to come in and be that guy that was able to settle that team down instead of it being from the bench and Jason Kidd. That never happened. I will say this. That's a resilient young man. What he's been able to do over the last 4 years after everybody wanted to kick him out of the NBA to now, you know, a celebrated player in the finals, I think we're going to see a very different Kyrie in game 2.
And then I was going to say, somebody in the chat brought up the point that Drew Holiday is the Kyrie stopper. He said shot below 40% against him since 2012.
Yeah.
And also another point
against Drew
Holiday, yeah, since 2012.
That's a great stat.
I'm telling you, Drew Holiday is like really like that when it comes to defense. Like, I don't know what it is. He got the sauce. But it was another stat to go along with that I saw earlier when I was at the gym was Kyrie is 0-11 against the Celtics. Like, yeah, he's just 0-11 against the Celtics.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
Since he left.
Yes.
Oh, since he left.
Yes.
Since he's left the Celtics.
That's crazy.
So it's like, I don't know if that's playing like.
That might feed into what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why I was just about to bring that up too.
It's too emotional of a place
because the game is I saw it. It's like the game is very mental. So, it's a KG.
No, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, the game very mental. So if you got all those factors weighing in on you, it's like, and you trying to deal with what's going on in front of you, it's like it sometimes just does become too much for you.
Yeah, and to just piggyback off Ryan's point, when you got a crowd like that that's going crazy like that, and the Celtics come out and they're just not missing shots, that first quarter absolutely just set the tone for the game. They could not miss. You talk about Kristaps, but it was really just the whole team from three-point range. I think they were damn near in the 60 percentile at the end of that first quarter. So when you got that and that crowd behind them doing that, I think absolutely it probably got to Kyrie a little bit.
You know, trying to figure out in trying to project the rest of the series, and do we have a series here or do we not have a series? I'll go against my own point here. I'll play like a point counterpoint of my own kind of assertion that maybe this is just what this series is. Outside of the first quarter, that was an even game. That was an even game. You know, and I know you can't. Maybe you can't do that because it was a 17-point first quarter deficit. But those next 3 quarters, they played within 1 point of each other. Dallas won 2 quarters. And the last 3 quarters of that game, only 1 point separated them. Now, was that because the game was out of hand and players were taken out and this, that, and the other thing? I don't know, but it did feel like after that first quarter, Dallas was kind of going, I don't want to say point for point, but nonetheless, they were staying alive. Maybe they're just not going to get blown out. Maybe they do have life in this series. Yeah. And if you believe that Dallas does have life in this series, that is something that maybe you hang on to, is that, Dallas won the third quarter. Dallas won the fourth quarter. And the second, third, and fourth quarter these teams were only separated by 1 point. I mean, if you're on the belief that Dallas is alive and well in this series, that's something you can hang on to.
Well, and that's the largest deficit in a first quarter playoff or finals game in history, 17 points. It truly was a first quarter ambush in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a franchise that has 17 titles, okay? They know what they're doing. Their fans know what they're doing. And they got Dallas in and they pounced on the Mavericks from the get. So the fact that Dallas was able to play with them and push the second, win the third outright, and basically push the fourth as well has to give them confidence coming into game two. But if Kristaps is playing the way he played in game one, this is going to be an incredibly difficult series for Dallas to get into.
Because how do you guard that? Seriously.
Well, they don't have anybody right now that can do that. They literally have to outscore Boston.
Yeah.
And get a couple of stops here and there. You know, Boston's going to score 110 points probably a night. Can you score 115? That really is what it comes down to. And, you know, I see the chat here. A couple of people in here. Alan says, this is insane to me. Y'all acting like this is the first Mavs series y'all have ever seen. And I understand the point. I think what I'm trying to say is this is a league of matchups. And if you look at the matchups that Dallas had to go through, you know, played an LA team that is old, really. Kawhi Leonard was out. OKC is the second or third youngest team in the league, even though they were the number one overall seed. They don't have any experience whatsoever in the playoffs. Zero. Minnesota, they match up well with.
Yeah.
They just match up well with Minnesota. Every aspect of Dallas's team matches up well with Minnesota, and it doesn't appear like that great of a matchup with Boston. So, yes, I have watched pretty much every game that Dallas has played this postseason, and I do question if they are just in over their heads against the Celtics or not, especially with the inclusion of Kristaps Porzingis back in the lineup.
Yeah.
But that's not to say, again, if you're a Dallas guy, and I kind of want Dallas to win the series. I don't want Boston to win the championship. I mean, I just don't. They're the Boston Celtics. I grew up with the bad boy Pistons. I don't want Boston to win another championship.
Brother. Amen.
So,
Yes.
But I'm rooting for Dallas. I'm just not sure yet. But if you are, again, if you want to make the point that Dallas is going to make this a series, you can hang your hat on what happened in the last 3 quarters of that game.
Well, and we started it off. The Pistons got rocked in San Antonio in 05, game 1 and game 2, and they're one inbound pass away from winning that series. So this by no means is over. This is the NBA, the NBA National Basketball Entertainment. They are not going to let this go 4 games after they only got 9 in the conference finals. So I'm not worried. They could go down 0-2 and go back to Dallas down 2, but you'll see a lot of fight out of them in Dallas. But you're going to see a hell of a lot of fight out of them in game 2 here. It's going to be a close one.
Absolutely. All right, guys, going to transition to the NFL next. Lions wrapping up mini camp. Veterans now will take a break until training camp, and then they'll come back. And, boy, the NFL season starts at the end of next month. It'll be an incredible year, we hope, for the Detroit Lions. What Dan Campbell had to say to the NFL Network, you'll hear from that. And we'll talk about the whole enchilada, but first, a message from Swiss.
All right, Swiss Insurance. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. If you want the best defense in insurance, you call my man Mark today at Swiss 313-530-1698 or go to SwissINS.com.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by, and there are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media. And we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, want to tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. That's right, Les Stanford has added the Buick GMC brands to their fleet of the lineup there. They've added a dealership in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. That is the Buick GMC dealership, Les Stanford Buick GMC. And, of course, if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been on Michigan Avenue for over 55 years, where my car is getting serviced right now. Got a loaner, great service. The service department, fantastic. If you need some service to your vehicle, feel free. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Great service department and great deals on cars too. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com. Together, let's drive. And you can drive on over to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. You could walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome. Ryan Ermanni, Anson Wells, Braylon out today, Maz out today, so we're having some fun with the whole team here. Kenny G in the house, intern James is here, intern Joel is here, and of course the great Pete Spivak is with us as well. Before I get to the NFL, guys, I just want to make this point, kind of pop culture news tonight, and somebody in the chat had mentioned this. Let's see if I could find it so I can give you credit. Is it a Diz? Yeah. A Diz 411. R.I.P. Wheel of Fortune. Longtime host Pat Sajak saying goodbye tonight. Tonight is Pat Sajak's final Wheel of Fortune broadcast.
Wow.
41 years with that show. And Ryan Seacrest will take over in September. And that's, another story maybe for another day.
I figured you were taking over.
I would love to. My goodness. What a staple, though. And one of the things I had mentioned today on the Fox 2 show about it was in this ever-changing environment of television, radio, everything going towards the streaming end of things, when you want it, how you want it, on the medium you want it. Wheel of Fortune was the last great old school television show. It was the and even now, if you look at game shows on TV, there is so much.
So much garbage.
There is so much. Well, yes, there is so much garbage. There's so much minutia. There's so many lights and so many spinny things and so much everything. It's like
Univision cross with Japanese game shows.
Yes, this is just a simple game show that you can play with your whole family at home, and it's fine.
Yeah,
and it's there. And it's constant, and you can always count on it.
Yeah.
And
Jeopardy's there too, but I can only answer like 5 questions all night, unless they got sports up.
You know what? You're right. Unless there's a sports topic, Jeopardy feels I'm completely over my head. Jeopardy is something that is, I feel like, not for everybody.
You get one of those subjects though, where you know all 5.
You just run them. Sports stadium.
Sounded all smart. Yeah, sports stadium. There you go. I love it.
But nonetheless, just wanted to give Pat Sajak a shout out, man, because again,
is Vanna still there?
Vanna has signed a 2-year deal.
Good for her.
So she's going to continue on for the next 2 years.
Still looking all 38 and fine.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Nice.
And aging like wine.
When you think of Hollywood too, when you think of California and you think of staying power, just to be able to stay in your lane.
Oh yeah.
And not feel like you're getting too big for your britches, where you've got to branch out. You don't want to do this job anymore. One of the things that Pat Sajak said too, or will say tonight, is he's like, I just always wanted this to be a game show. I didn't want, there was no politics. There was no there was nothing. It was just a game show. And it kind of goes back to something we talk a lot about, is like, do you want to hear from your musicians, your athletes, your actors and actresses, any kind of, political opinion or anything like that? Because there is something that is so peaceful about having just a little slice of the pie, to where you can tune in and
a little slice of the wheel.
You're not going to be bothered by any of it. You're just going to be able to solve the puzzle. You're just going to be able to pick a letter. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life is hard enough. Society is hard enough. Let's leave that part out here. And that's one of the great things about Wheel of Fortune. So kudos to Pat Sajak.
I might tune in for that. I haven't caught an episode of the Wheel of Fortune in a long, long time.
I haven't either.
You piqued my curiosity.
Yeah, I haven't either. And I probably will try to watch tonight. And if I don't watch tonight, I'll probably DVR it. And if you don't DVR it, I'm sure you'll see it on the clips and stuff like that.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to mention Pat Sajak. Do the young guys, do you even know who Pat Sajak is?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, now you, but I don't.
What about you, James?
But I consider you.
I'm a 90s.
They're separated by 10 years.
Yeah, thank you.
They've got 10 years. I want to hear what James has to say.
Yeah, James. I have heard of Pat Sajak, actually. I actually did grow up with my folks watching it. My dad was a big fan of it. So,
Could you pick him out of a lineup, though?
Could I pick him? It's hard to miss him. He's a recognizable guy.
That is great. By the way, I think this is Anson who mentioned, or maybe you, Kenny. Doesn't intern James have a little Luca in him?
A lot of Luca, bro. A lot of Luca.
A little bit of Luca. Can we get a look at it? Look at it. It's a little bit of Luca.
Yeah, man.
Right?
He's built like Luca, man. He moves
Stronger
like
neck.
Luca. Just a little different facial hair. That's about it.
They call him Power Neck on BDE.
He got a stronger neck. But
Is that what they call you on BDE?
That's what they call me on BDE. Power Neck, baby.
Love it.
I love it. That is so good.
Awesome addition to Woodward here.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, James is doing fabulous.
No doubt.
You're teaching him well, Pete Spivak.
I do the best I
Teaching
can,
him well.
man. He's learning.
All right, I do want to talk a little Detroit Lions now, because they wrapped up mini camp this week, and one of the things that Dan Campbell had talked about earlier to the media over the last couple of days is he's looking at the whole enchilada. That is what he wants, is the whole enchilada. Then he had this to say with the NFL Network.
You know what I want. I want the whole enchilada.
Enchiladas are gross. I will accept no debate on that topic, Judy. But when it comes to the enchilada of the Lombardi Trophy, a Super Bowl, something that Lions fans have been waiting like 67 years for, I believe. Last title in 1957 here. It's interesting that Dan Campbell is really leaning into a situation that the Lions haven't been in for a while, which is being the hunted and not the hunter.
Yeah, I really like that he is embracing it. First of all, enchiladas are awesome, Tom. But I like that he is embracing the expectations for the team, because this is an entirely different dynamic for him and for the players, managing being the top gun, not the underdog, not the sort of cute, cuddly Lions. Maybe they can upset some teams, catch some teams by surprise. That's just not going to happen anymore. This is the team that's going to be hunted now in a really difficult division. They are not going to be the darlings anymore, the upstart darlings anymore. This is a very difficult division. They came so close last year. One thing I do think they have going for them is continuity. They kept their core together. Of course, Jared Goff got the big contract. So did Penei Sewell. So did Amon-Ra St. Brown. But most importantly, I think keeping offensive coordinator Ben Johnson in the fold. That just doesn't happen that often in the NFL. A hot offensive coordinator coming off a hot offensive season. They usually leave. They kept him. I think that is a big leg up for the Detroit Lions.
So that was the NFL Network and what they had to say about Dan Campbell's claim that he wants the whole enchilada. And that is really, really, I think, a great thing for Dan Campbell to say. I think you need to speak out what your goals are. I think you need to not be afraid to say the word Super Bowl in this town. I think if you believe your team is ready to win the Super Bowl, and we all believe, I'll speak for myself. I believe this team is ready to win the Super Bowl and can win the Super Bowl and may have won the Super Bowl if they played Kansas City last year. I don't think there's any doubt. To me, unless this team wins the NFC Championship, I'm not saying wins the Super Bowl, unless this team wins the NFC Championship and makes it to the Super Bowl, I think it's a failed season.
You all at home already know I absolutely share that opinion.
Yeah.
They need to show me and the rest of Detroit something we've never seen before. If we're going to have a high bar for this team that we're going to hold them to, as fans, we have to hold ourselves to the exact same thing. But what I do love about this team is they're not only great in the front office, they don't just draft well and develop players well and do the right things when they get to the games. These guys are psychological. They get it. At the end of the season, we might not get back. We might not get back to that level. This was our chance. And now he's calling for Super Bowl. So he didn't let the team down and deflate them by saying that. He was just very real. And he's not just pumping them up right now. He's very, very real. Because, as you said, Ryan, if we don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, we have expectations as Lions fans for the first time. If we don't get there, there's going to be a whole lot of people that might be whispering those three letters again.
Yeah, and I just think that the time is now to pounce.
Yeah.
I just do. Yep. And I think, and again, I mentioned this the other day, Anson, I said I think Dan Campbell's biggest challenge is because the Super Bowl is the goal. I think the biggest challenge for Dan Campbell is keeping these guys so focused to the point where you can go practice by practice, week to week, game to game. It's a lot easier to do that when you haven't won anything, when you haven't won a division championship, when you haven't won a playoff game, when you haven't won a home playoff game, when you haven't won a Super Bowl. You haven't done any of those things. It's easier to focus and have smaller goals along the way. And yes, it is still a goal to have a division championship and win a playoff game, but host a playoff game. But all of those things have now been checked off the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once you go through that checklist, you're sitting there, check, and then there's a big thing here, right here, that you haven't checked off yet. That's really the only thing you're looking at.
Yeah,
you're not looking at, what do I have to do to get here? You know what I mean? What do I have to do to get here? And I do think that is my big, outside of health, specifically with the quarterback.
Yeah.
Outside of health, that is my biggest fear that this team will struggle with early on.
We can finish second in the division. We could be the 5 or 6 seed in the playoffs. If we win the NFC Championship, none of that matters. So it's about staying healthy, but it's about playing great football at the end of the season. This team has some guys. i.e. JMO, i.e. Jack Campbell, some of the rookies. All that these guys have to do is take the step in the second half of the season. They don't have to be there in the beginning. We've got enough firepower to get through, and even if things are struggling, be a 500 ball club by midseason. That will still be good enough for us to get into the playoffs and then do our real damage. So the window that I speak about in the 20s, this entire decade, is very real for the Lions. But as you've mentioned, this is the year to pounce. But Lions fans have to understand, this might not go incredibly smooth from start to finish, like it kind of did last year. We overcame injuries. We didn't have a target on our back. We have the 4th hardest schedule out of the league this season. We've got a lot of rookies and a lot of new guys are expected to play a lot. So there's going to be some growing pains as this team figures out its identity for this season. But all I care about is what they do in the playoffs and showing us something we've never seen here in Detroit, and that is a Super Bowl berth.
So I disagree with that a little bit, Anson. I'll tell you why. Because I think this team has to get out to a quick start. And whether they beat the Rams or lose to the Rams, that aside, 3 of their first 4 home games are at home. They have got to take care of their home field. Their schedule as it goes on, obviously with 3 of 4 at home early on, what does that mean at the end of the year? You're playing on the road. So I don't think you can lose a couple of home games right off the bat. I do think you have to win. I think you have to be 3-1 after those 4 weeks at least. And if that means, you lose to the Rams and you win the next 3, that's fine. But I think 3-1 is where I'd like to see this team. No worse than 3-1 after the first month of the season, and that does include back-to-back games against playoff teams you beat in the playoffs, teams that think that they'd like to have a little bit of revenge against you. LA Rams feel they are a much better team than they were a year ago. I think they're a team that will challenge San Francisco for the NFC West. I absolutely believe the Rams are that good this year. I think Tampa Bay is just as good, if not better, than they were a year ago. Arizona is a much better team than they were a year ago. Great draft, and they get their quarterback back. And then Seattle would, to me, is the weakest of the first 4 opponents.
But they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. But exactly. So
thorn in the Lions side too.
Yeah, right.
Right. But to your guys' point, this is an understanding from everybody in the organization. We've heard it from everybody from Sheila to Dan to Brad to the players. Everybody has said this is a Super Bowl or bust type situation. We have never heard that as Lions fans. So to your point, Anson, Lions fans do need to get comfortable with the fact that this is a Super Bowl or bust thing. I don't think we're going back to SOL because the minute they signed Goff to that extension, the clock was turned on. They have a certain amount of time to get this done. And the number 1 goal this season should be that number 1 seed. The one thing that they have not achieved so far along this journey. You absolutely need home field advantage throughout this playoffs because Ford Field has proven to be one of the toughest places to play in all of the National Football League. But everybody in this organization knows what time it is. That's why all these moves this offseason have been strategic, from the coaches improving the defense. Everything that has happened to this point shows you that they know that they're in their window now, and now is the time to pounce. Even the post June 1st, having money left over just in case they got to make a move at the deadline. Everything they have done screams they are ready for this moment.
Yeah. And that should absolutely be the goal, by the way, to get the number 1 seed. You look at these really good teams over the years. Look at Green Bay over the years. Look at Kansas City over the years. New England over the years. Very rarely in their championship windows did they ever, kind of just not perform.
Yeah.
In Kansas, and I'll take Kansas City. I don't care that they have Patrick Mahomes. Let's take Kansas City, for instance, okay? Kansas City, hold on.
Didn't the last 2 seasons, maybe a third or halfway into the season, everybody's like, they might not even make the playoffs. They're not going to win it.
I know definitely last year they kind of, I don't want to say backdoored into the playoffs, but they struggled.
They were 7-2 at one point. They finished 11-6. They lost 3 of their last 6 games. After a 7-2 start. But again, they won 11 games in 23. In 22, they won 14 games. In 21, they won 12 games. So 12, 11, 14, 14, 12. I mean, you don't see an 8 or a 9 in there is what I'm saying.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely
It's, and even New England, unless like Brady was injured or something like that, it was 12, it was 13, it was Aaron Rodgers and the Packers 13-3, 13-3, 13-3. I mean, it's very rarely did you see a 9-7 out of them or whatever when they played 16 games. So I just think that the Lions, you come out of the gate, you've got 2 home games in the first month of the season on national television, a Sunday night football game in the opener against the Rams, a Monday night football game against the Seattle Seahawks at home in week 4. Show the country who you are. All of those other players will be watching you.
Yep.
The new hotness of the league, the Detroit Lions. And I do think what was said on the NFL Network just a couple of minutes ago when we played that clip, the Lions will surprise nobody this year.
Nope. Big target.
And in fact, that's right. That's exactly right, Anson. They will be the hunted.
Good thing we bring 10,000 fans to every stadium we go to.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
No doubt. But they will be the hunted this year. Everybody's going to give the Detroit Lions their best shot.
Yeah. I'll come back to my words and let me reformat them. This is a team that can win the Super Bowl at 15-2 or 10-7. What I want the Lions fans to understand is that if we go 4-0 or 2-2 after the first month, this is still the same team. There's a lot of new pieces here. And we got a whole remade secondary. You know, we've got 2 wide receivers that are returning, but are expected to take a much larger portion of the offense. And then you've got a new defensive line that's almost the same or almost reworked as well. So there's going to be some adjustments. I mean, you feel the same, KG?
Absolutely. And I want Lions fans to also understand that it doesn't matter how it looks. Results are the only thing that matters. I don't care about golf stats. I don't care about how many touchdowns. As long as you are winning games, that's all that matters. The number 1 seed is the absolute goal. It's not going to be perfect along the way. They can't go 17-0, guys. That just is what it is. But to your point, at 10-7 or at 15-2, they are a team that can get it done. So just get it done. The results are the only thing that matter.
Can we do an exercise really quick?
Yes, please.
Yeah. All right, I want to do an exercise really quick. I'm going to go through the position units of the Detroit Lions, and I want you to tell me if they're better than last year or worse than last year.
Okay.
Okay? And you can't say stay the same, because if you stay the same, you're getting worse.
Okay.
Okay? That's how I feel about it anyway. We'll start on offense. Quarterback, better than last year or worse than last year?
Absolutely better. You have a healthy Hendon Hooker who's been in the program for a year.
Facts.
KG?
I second that.
Okay, better. I say the quarterback position is better than they were a year ago as well. Running back position, better than a year ago or worse than a year ago?
Do not sleep on Sione Vaki getting touches. You have what you saw out of Jahmyr Gibbs, where his first half of the season, he was figuring it out. Second half of the season, maybe the best running back in the league. They're better.
They're better. And even if you don't want to count Sione Vaki, they still got Craig Reynolds
That's right.
third back. So
and even
better.
if you just wanted to count David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs was a rookie last year.
Yeah.
The hope is that you're better in year 2 than you are in year 1.
And Monty's healthy too.
Yep. Better. Okay.
Yep.
Offensive line, better than a year ago or worse than a year ago?
I can't say the same, so I'll say deeper, which makes them better.
Yeah, I would say better just off of the draft picks that they made and the signings that they made, yes.
I am also going to say better. And one of the things today, Pro Football Focus put out their top 10 guards in the NFL. Kevin Zeitler was number 5 on the list.
Number 5? Oh, so we're definitely better.
On the list.
And it costs us, what, $12 million less than Jonah?
Yeah. Exactly.
He's a Pro Bowler.
And Jonah Jackson is not on that top 10
No,
list,
he's
by
not.
the way.
No, he's not.
So I am going to go ahead and say better. Tight end position, better or worse than a year ago?
I mean, you have the best rookie season out of a tight end ever. I would imagine he's learned some things, so I would say better.
Better. And then they re-signed Brock Wright as well.
Yeah.
And he's a big key
contract
to
for
this
him.
run.
Yep.
Okay, wide receiver position. Better than a year ago, worse than a year ago.
Full off-season program for JMO and for DJP or DPJ.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm happy.
Better. I second that.
I am going to say better than a year ago, and I'll tell you why. Did you see Jamison Williams, the clip that the Lions posted of his catch on the sideline? This kid, if he is making catches like that,
scary.
Look out.
That's right.
Look out below.
Yes, sir.
Better than a year ago. So for the people at home, I will have you know that we just went through the entire Lions offense. 5 position groups that are better than a year ago. Going to take a break. We're going to go through the defensive position groups. We'll do that next. But first, a message from Dr. Pierce, our injury insider here at WSN. And by the way, I saw Dr. Pierce last night at the charity event I was at, Cars and Cigars.
Yeah.
How about that?
Shout
Dr.
out.
Jeff Pierce, Woodward Sports Injury Insider, the medical director of Michigan Sports and Spine Center, every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday right here on Ermanni and Edwards, brought to you by Amon-Ra of Southfield, featuring the most advanced imaging and maximum patient comfort for over 20 years. MRI of Southfield.com. Now for Premier Pet Supply.
And don't forget to give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box realtors, with one major difference: family and locally owned and operated for 30 years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts there to help you. Same day local, curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Visit them at www.premierpetsupply.com.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness, and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
What's better than crispy chicken and pizza while watching your favorite team play? Oh, I can use some of this right now. Let me tell you about Soroki's crispy chicken and pizza. Their food is amazing, and their locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit. A perfect takeout option featuring hand-breaded fried chicken, New York pizza, fresh salads, sides, and more. Check out their full menu and find the closest Soroki's near you at Sorokis.com. That's Sorokis.com. Soroki's and Woodward Sports. Now, that is crispy.
Hour number 2 of the program, we had just gone through Lions position groups on offense. And myself, Anson, and Kenny G all said they were better at each position group. And if you're welcoming, as we welcome you into hour number 2 of the program, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon out today, Tom Mazaway out today. Both will be back on Monday, but Anson Wells sitting in with me, or I'm sitting in with him. That's right. I mean, the way things have been, right? Something like that. Kenny G participating in the show today. He participates anyway.
Yeah.
But we've dragged him into the mic a little bit today as a third voice. We like to have a number.
He's
of
always
voices.
got hot takes.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Intern James is here as well. I'm going to tell you about his football camp coming up later in the hour. But I see the chat. Kenneth Matthews says, y'all slappies.
I have a reason to be a slappy.
I haven't been accused of that for about 2 years
right,
now.
Right. Have you watched the post-game shows, people?
Yeah, for real.
Right.
For real.
I'll be a slappy.
Y'all are fake. I'm born and raised in Detroit. I'm real and honest, not a slappy.
Okay.
I love my Lions, but I'm realistic. I guess my question is there an area we are missing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we missing?
I got yelled at by Maz for this. This is the Detroit Lions, the most maligned franchise in football history. Okay. So injuries could happen, but the Lions could happen. Now, I truly believe that this is BNL. These are the brand new Lions. Everything from top to bottom, the culture, the play, screams a team that we've never known here, and we love it. But there's still a curse of Bobby Lane that lingers in this city, and to me, that is the only thing that scares me, and I'm speaking to whoever it is that's calling himself a non-slappy. You got to be hearing what I'm saying. We know how we can be let down. We've ridden high. We've been there with Barry Sanders to the NFC Championship game, and we saw what happened to that team the year later, you know? So I'm hoping that, nobody has a spinal cord injury and nobody gets hit by a semi-planting flowers.
I mean, clearly.
But this is still the Lions, okay?
And listen, I get all that. All I can do is look at what I see on the field.
Yes.
That's the only thing I can see. And are you better this year than you were a year ago? I do think Jared Goff is going to be a better quarterback this year than he was last year. Jared Goff is just entering the prime of his career.
I agree.
He is just entering the prime of his career. There is no reason to believe that there is a decline for Jared Goff. So I believe he's better. If you look at the running back position, David Montgomery, as you mentioned, Anson, healthy this year.
Yeah.
And Jahmyr Gibbs, just by rule, okay? I believe you are better in your second year of doing something than your first year of doing something. Like, just as a general rule of thumb, I am a better radio host or YouTube host or digital host in year 2 than I was in year 1.
Facts.
Just by the fact that I've done it more. Now, you may still think I suck, and that's fine. But I suck less in year 2 than I sucked in year 1.
And you're more confident doing it.
Absolutely. And I'm more confident sitting behind the microphone. So that aside, okay, so you got the running backs. Jamison Williams. Amon-Ra is Amon-Ra. Guy's a top 5 guy in the NFL as far as I'm concerned. And he's certainly paid like it.
Yep.
The question is J-Mo there? Can J-Mo be there? This is the first year since Jamison Williams has been a Detroit Lion that he has been able to participate in the entirety of the offseason program.
Yeah, it's going to make all the difference in the world for him.
First year.
Yep.
Okay? So I do think that is part of it. He has been in big games. He has been in big spots. He has made big catches, and now he can build on that. I am taking a leap thinking that Jamison Williams is absolutely going to take that next step for this football team. So if you put J-Mo and Amon-Ra and Khalif Raymond, by the way, I think J-Mo and Amon-Ra are better than Amon-Ra and Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? It's just, that's where I'm going. I think Sam Laporta is going to be better in year 2 of doing something than in year 1. And then the offensive line, look, Penei Sewell is not even in the prime of his life yet.
Yep.
Monster.
Hasn't even scratched the surface. Kevin Zeitler is a top 5 guard in the NFL.
Facts.
Frank Ragnow is a Hall of Famer.
Could be.
Potentially.
Yep.
Especially if he gets a ring this year.
And Taylor Decker is just a beast. So, and Graham Glasgow is as versatile as anybody in the league, can play 3 positions on any given day in any game. So I think the offensive line is better. So based on that reasoning, I guess I just don't see how that's not feasible to somebody out there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, somebody said in the chat, the rest of this division has gotten better. We are arguably in the best division in football. I think it's the AFC and the NFC North in both conferences. But we certainly have. We haven't even touched on the defense yet. But every single facet of the game, and we can skip right over special teams because we got better at special teams too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We definitely did. I got to address Wilson number 1, though. I was born in the 70s, bro. I do not hate on people. The last thing that I hate on is anything in this city. I'm one of the most patriotic Detroiters you will ever meet. And when it comes to our teams, I bleed Honolulu blue, red, white, and blue, orange and blue. Yeah. I even bleed red and white.
Look at that.
When they make the playoffs, at least. But I can't anoint this team like a bunch of people did around this city and at this network after 1 win last year. I cannot anoint this team when they haven't done something that I've never seen before, because I've seen an NFC championship game 2 times now. I want this team to succeed. I want everybody in Detroit to realize this isn't hockey town. This is football town, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm going to be responsible to my opinion and to what I see with the Lions. The Lions could falter, but they still are so good, and their culture is so strong that even a 4-4 start will not preclude this team from a deep playoff run, period.
But that's why I'm caught up on, and you my guy, Anson, but the SOL thing. The SOL thing died when this regime took over, because you want to know why? They have delivered on every single thing they have said up until this point. One, we have never seen that. But if you want to take it down to the field and get granular, SOL died the night they were in Green Bay with nothing to play for, and they won that game.
That's a fact.
I'm telling you, like they are a completely different organization. You just said if they're 4-4, they are a good enough team to overcome that and still get to the goals that they are trying to meet. That tells me that SOL has been dead. This is a totally different. When have we ever been able to say the Lions are in a Super Bowl window legitimately?
You didn't hear me say those 3 letters, though, did you?
I get it.
I think you've said them 6 times today.
But you've hinted at it, though. You've hinted that they could go back to that, and I just don't see that. Even if they have a misstep, they can overcome just based on the people in charge and the players that they have put on the field. That SOL thing is never coming back.
I happily and wholeheartedly agree.
All right.
Shall we go through the defense?
Yes,
yeah,
please, sir.
Please.
Okay. Defensive end. The defensive end position. Better or worse than a year ago?
Well, I mean, you look at a lot of the guys, we're going to have a healthy edge rusher in Houston.
Yep.
I think Zach Pascal actually took that step towards the end of last season.
Josh.
What's that?
Josh Pascal.
Did I say Zach?
Yeah, I would have called him Zach
that's the
too.
receiver, right?
Listen,
that's the receiver.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so Josh, I think, took that step. They didn't really add too much to the defensive end specifically.
Yep, defensive end position.
I think that they are better because they have players that have been in the system longer and are starting to hit that level of development that they want to see them do. But what you're about to go to next is the reason why the defensive ends are better as well.
Yeah.
First of all, defensive end, better or worse than a year ago?
I would say better, especially on paper. Now, Marcus Davenport, he's a good addition.
Is he healthy or is he not healthy?
Exactly. He's a good addition, but we don't know about his health. But you are getting a healthy James Houston back, hopefully. We do still have Josh Pascal. He's returning healthy, hopefully. And also Mekhi Wingo, who they drafted in the 5th round.
Him.
They are playing him at the edge as well as inside.
Interesting.
Yes. So he is somebody that I think Lions fans need to look out for as well. He'll probably get some snaps on that outside. And if we believe the hype in what's his name, Matthew Betts, then maybe he gets in and he contributes. But I would say better.
And don't forget, a year 3, Aiden Hutchinson
Yes.
is probably better
15
than a
sack
year 2,
Aiden Hutchinson.
right?
Yes.
So
Especially
I believe
with a DJ Reader in
check.
the middle.
Speaking of DJ Reader,
There's the segue.
the defensive line, better or worse than a year ago?
Oh, man. I mean, this is one of the maybe top 3, but certainly top 5 interior defensive linemen in the league. And as I was just mentioning while we were talking about the ends, what he's going to do with his disruptive style of play is just going to make our edges that much better. And we're not even talking about what kind of extra time our secondary is going to provide, because, again, how many times did we see Hutch this close?
Yeah.
And, that's part of it. It's hand in hand, too. I mean, DJ Reader or Lee McNeil, do you think they're going to be able to help out Aiden Hutchinson a little bit this year?
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Come on. So that whole thing, DL. Now, this one could be a little tricky, okay?
All right.
I'm breaking your rules on this one.
Okay. Legitimate conversation. Is the linebacker position better or worse than a year ago?
I would say that it is the same. Although Broderick's looking like a monster right now. Broderick
Martin, but he's on
with
the
a B,
D-line.
right?
Yeah, he's a D tackle though.
Okay. I've never known exactly what player he is.
Yeah,
I
right.
swear, to be honest
We
with
haven't
you.
seen him.
Look at him. We haven't seen him, right?
Because our defensive line is better, that should open up holes for our linebacker core. But at the end of the day, I think that Jack Campbell takes a jump. And by that, if he makes that jump, they're better.
Yeah.
So, Kenny,
no,
if I may, just real
go
quick.
ahead, go ahead.
That is the answer to this question. Are they better or are they worse? Does Jack Campbell take that next step?
I
And if
think
you
so.
believe the answer is yes, and I believe the answer is yes.
Yes.
I believe Jack Campbell is going to take a huge step forward this year. So because of that reason alone, I say this unit is better than they were a year ago.
Absolutely. And for that point, and Alex Anzalone, let's not forget he had a breakout season last year. I expect him to be just as much of a force at that linebacker spot as he was last year, man, being a leader on that defense. And if you want to say Derek Barnes, at least he's very good in the run game. We do know that to be a fact. He also made one of the most important plays in Lions history this last postseason. So I would say better. Absolutely.
All right. So now we move to the final 2 positions. We'll start at corner. One of the most improved points of emphasis on this defense in terms of the offseason goes. Are they better than a year ago or worse than a year ago at cornerback, Anson?
So this is shocking to me. I just found this right before we started the show, so we don't have a chance to put it up on the screen for you. But PFF put up something on Twitter that says, what team has the best cornerback duo in the NFL? They have the Dolphins, the Browns, the Jets, the Seahawks, the Cowgirls, and the Eagles, and the Lions.
Wow.
So this is a position of absolute weakness that was exposed time after time by great wide receivers last year, and now it's a position of strength. So hands down, we are better at the corner position.
Just look at this, Kenny.
Yep.
Terrian Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, the 2 draft picks.
Yep.
Then you've got Carlton Davis III and Amik Robertson, the 2 acquisitions. Then you've got the re-signing of Emmanuel Mosley and Kendall Vildor.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I mentioned the other day, if you could be 4 of those 9 guys, if you tell me for the 7, I guess it is.
Yeah.
You feel pretty good about it. You've got all 7 there on your team.
Absolutely. Carlton Davis, although he had a bad year last year, he has been a top 15 corner in this league.
Yeah, he's got a track record.
You can easily say that. When you look at Amik Robertson, somebody who played himself into a starting position in the last 2 years, has played 17 games. The reliability alone makes him an upgrade. The draft picks, of course. And Emmanuel Mosley coming back, God willing, if his health holds up, he should be a factor. And then I will even add Deshae Townsend being a new coach in this secondary room. I think the Deshae Townsend pickup is something that hasn't been talked about enough. We talk about Terrell Williams a lot, but Deshae Townsend is a really good defensive backs coach, and I think he'll be able to do more than what Dre Bly was able to do, especially with all this talent. So absolutely an upgrade.
Incredible stuff. And now the final position, safety. We've got Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Ifatu Melifonwu, CJ Moore, Brandon Joseph turned a lot of heads this week at minicamp. Are they better or worse than a year ago at safety?
Absolutely better. We're deeper. Sione Vaki is going to allow them to do whatever they want with Brian Branch.
Yep.
That whole secondary it's a gift to everybody here in Detroit, because the frustration that we had in games having to outscore people most weeks, it's not going to be that way.
Absolutely. The safety room is definitely better just because Brian Branch alone, he was great in year one. I expect him to take a big leap in year two. You look at Kirby Joseph, he's the ball hawk of this Lions secondary. He should be able to get his hands on a lot of interceptions this year. And Ife Melifonwu, although it took him a while to get to where he was at, the way they utilize him when blitzing and things of that nature, he's going to be a force, man. He's a great tackler on top of that. It's an upgrade.
He had a half season as an all-star.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Absolutely. So, yeah, they are better.
I just Googled CJ Gardner-Johnson because I had a brain fart. He did go back to Philadelphia,
Just
right?
call him CD Deuce.
He did. Yep, he's back in
Philly. He did go back to Philadelphia. But when you Google CJ Gardner-Johnson, I don't know if there's a way to look at this. It's really funny. It's really funny. But on CJ Gardner-Johnson's homepage, right here, Spencer Raxter and Easy go off on CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Oh, that's
fantastic. Heavyweights.
Yep. Shout out Easy and Spins.
Let's go.
Is that great?
Shout out the heavyweights, baby.
Shout 'em
5
out.
to 7 right here.
Oh my
love
God. Is that awesome or what?
Yeah, I wonder how Philly fans feel about getting him back after his choice words for them when he left for Detroit.
Oh my God.
He only felt that way because they didn't pay him the first time. That's the only reason he trashed this.
Hey, they didn't really pay him this time either.
Yeah, they really didn't.
Right? But again, we just went through 5 position groups on offense and 5 position groups on defense, and at every single one of those positions, we believe they're a better football team than they were a year
I have one
ago.
concern, and it's not the special teams, but it is the kicker.
Yes.
We have the best punter in town in the league, but our kicking situation was not fixed.
James Turner's going to win that job. Just telling you now, the kicker from Michigan.
Yeah,
cool.
The things I've been hearing in camp.
That's how I feel about it anyway.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard anything from camp? Or
I have heard he's been
killing it.
Fantastic. He's got nerves of steel. He's been there in championship games. He's won a national championship.
So no big leg Bates?
I don't know how that works. Do they invite him to camp?
Are they still playing?
No,
yeah, they're playing. They play this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're in the playoffs. They're in the USFL Conference Championship.
Hey.
Yeah.
Pete, you happy to see your boys back and doing things?
These are not my boys.
They're
My boys
kinda
are
your
long
boys.
gone, baby. The days of NFL players in the USFL are long gone.
Yeah, but it's still the Michigan Panthers. Like,
No, it's not. It's a different franchise.
I know, but it's shades of Bobby Hebert.
Shades, like dead leaf shades.
Oh my God! But yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if the Lions could just sign him. Can they just sign? Like, I really don't know.
After the season is, I assume teams will be lining up.
I'd imagine he's going to be in somebody's camp after they finish.
God, yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
again, I don't know if there's rules with if you have to go in a draft or not a draft, but. Maybe you are just a free agent and anybody can sign you off the street.
I think he's a free agent because P.J. Walker left the Houston team and then he went to the NFL with Cleveland, I think. With Cleveland, if I'm correct, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Stand corrected then. We'll see what happens.
I think
But
he's a free agent.
I mean, he's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But again, just the over, and I totally agree with you about the kicking position. I think it's one of the reasons that cost the Lions a Super Bowl berth last 100%. Year. Dan Campbell had no faith in the field goal kicker. Mm-hmm. No faith in him whatsoever that he could kick a 46-yard field goal.
Yeah, that game's not in contention in the last 3 minutes if we are able to play normal football.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. So I agree with you on that. And I do think somebody in the chat earlier had said that, every city's fan base thinks their team is better than they were a year ago. I'm not sure that's particularly true. And I think there's
in the North, it's true.
In the North, it is true.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you could look at the Minnesota Vikings, 5 positions on offense and 5 positions on defense, and say that they're better in all 10 spots.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're all better, but I think that they played lower than their level last year.
Yeah.
So, I still think that they're an 8 or 9 win team. And that's a tough get by.
Sure. So, yeah, maybe every city's fan base does believe this about their NFL team. I think it's, if nothing else, even if you believe they're worse at linebacker, or even if you believe they're worse at offensive line, or even if you believe they're a little bit worse at insert position group here, I think the moral of the story, the general theme, is that this football team is completely on an incline in its totality, and this is year 2 of a Super Bowl window. And it's probably last year showed people that they were ahead of pace, maybe a year ahead of their time.
Yeah.
When it comes to a Super Bowl, and many people thought this would be year 1 of a Super Bowl window, but this is year 2 of a Super Bowl window, and maybe for the next 4 to 6 years, you're going to have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl or a couple of Super Bowls.
Well, if 80% of this team continues to be made up of guys that we drafted and we developed, it's going to be a very long window of enjoyable Lions football.
No doubt.
I would agree.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL. Lots to get to when it comes to that. We'll talk a little Tigers as well at some point. And, of course, talk to intern James about his football camp. We'll do that. Lots of show left. We'll do it next. But first, a message from Wake Up Woodward. Is it Guardian Alarm?
Is it Guardian Alarm there? All right. Well, then, what happens when you see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house? It tells the bad guys and Green Bay Packer fans one thing:
stay out.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. And that technology has been proven to work, and those people have been proven to care. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
Most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness, and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about KDK Law. Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10-plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan that QR code right there above my head if you're watching on YouTube, and you'll get all the information that you need, or you can call 248-971-0476, 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back. I thought this was an interesting story, and I was a little confused by it. Did you see the story of Josh Jacobs? Let me play this for you. This is Packers running back Josh Jacobs, formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders. He was on Chris Long's Green Light podcast. Here's what Josh Jacobs told. Here's what Josh Jacobs told Chris Long on the Green Light podcast when Chris Long asked him if he's looking forward to Week 1 in Brazil.
I got to ask you, you're going to open the season against my Eagles down in Brazil, man. What are you most excited about?
You know, they said that the part of Brazil we going to, you can't even wear green at.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They said, like, I guess something to do with the gangs and stuff.
Oh, dude,
Eagles,
I'm not going. I'm not going.
They said we're not going to Rio. We going to. They told us they was like, man, it's one of them places where they probably won't even let us leave.
A full team.
Oh, damn, I'm not going, dude. No.
Eagles and
I was
Green
picturing-
Bay.
Oh, green. That's
Wait,
what I said.
what color? Yeah, what color green?
And they probably gonna have like armored vehicles following us around. I said, bro, why are we out here? Why are we here?
I'm picturing Josh Jacobs like hanging out on the beach and shit, but it doesn't sound like that kind of trip.
Bro, I was looking forward to it. I'm like, man, it's about to be a fun week. And they got telling us all of that. They're like, yeah, nah, it's not gonna be like that. I'm like, yeah, all right.
All right, so cancel that trip. All
Right.
right, we good.
Glad
All
we
right.
got the inside.
Just so I know, what's the color of the other gang?
I have no idea. That's what I asked.
Josh-
Figure
that out.
Literally the same question I asked. I said, bro, so they was like, man, look, just pack just black and white colors, because they was like, man, when you come out here, we don't want no mishaps.
Oh, that's wild, dude. All right. Oh, fuck, that's
Bro,
funny.
the color of the flag, I'm like, the flag is green. Like,
All right, so that is Josh Jacobs. The NFL has responded. Okay.
Yes.
This is
I bet.
This is what the NFL has said about this, because I think the natural question is, when you hear that, why in the world are you sending them to Brazil? And they're not going to Rio de Janeiro. They're going to a place where they can't wear their colors. This is from Ari Meirov. Just to debunk this, an NFL spokesman has denied that the Eagles and Packers won't be allowed to wear green at their Week 1 game in Brazil because the color is affiliated with gangs. The NFL also denied that the teams would be restricted to their hotels with armored vehicles taking them to the stadium, which, as Josh Jacobs later says in that clip, that, yeah, they would be taken around in armored vehicles. The natural question when you hear Josh Jacobs say that is, why would you send your NFL athletes into a danger zone? And then number two, if this is not true, who is telling him that? Like, where does that come from? That comes from somewhere.
Yeah. When I tell people I go down to Mexico for a couple months a year, oh my God, it's so dangerous. You were just at After Hours in Detroit. Like, come on. So let me read something here. Corinthians, a Brazilian soccer club that owns a stadium where the Eagles and Packers will play, has a strong rivalry with Palmeiras, a green club. In comparison, it's just like a purple team playing at Lambeau Field. So their biggest rival wears green, and they don't want two green teams representing green in their stadium when that's, it'd be basically like the Wolverines having two teams come into the big house wearing green. So it's not really, I mean, they should have armored cars traveling in Sao Paulo. There are some elements down there that when you see wealth that there's an opportunity.
Sure.
But in terms of these guys having to fear for their lives and worried about their wardrobe, it's not as nefarious as originally pitched.
I'll tell you, Kenny, when I first heard this, and this was out there for about 24 hours before the NFL responded.
Yeah.
I wonder where Josh Jacobs gets that from. And, I think the thought is when he is referring to they said, I think the they in my mind was defined as A, the Packers, or B, the NFL, like the league as it's on its own.
Yeah, I think it could have been just maybe people he knew as well, maybe word of mouth type deal.
Little Twitter.
But even if it was true, as big of a conglomerate as the NFL is, you think they gonna let anything happen to these players? No. Like, no rival gang is gonna be able to infiltrate an NFL game. I promise you that. I promise you that. I mean, they've had the World Cup in Brazil, for crying out loud. I don't think it's as bad as it seems, because in most situations when people say stuff like that, it's normally not as bad as it's pitched. But who knows where he's getting this from? But I definitely don't think that's true.
How many people look at you guys like you're crazy for living in Detroit?
Exactly.
I mean, Jared Goff had a security here in Birmingham.
Exactly.
When he first got to town,
Well, that's exactly right. He came here. He walked in this building really with a security guard or a personal
entourage
protection,
security,
carrying a weapon.
Welcome to Birmingham, where the weak are killed and eaten.
The mean streets ago. The mean streets of Birmingham.
That's right.
Right. 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy. So we'll see what happens there. Now we'll go around the NFL here, guys. Did you see the news about the Kansas City Chiefs defensive end B.J. Thompson? Still unconscious but stable. He suffered a seizure and cardiac arrest during mini camp. Really a terrible scene there at Chiefs mini camp, and he is alive. He's unconscious but stable after suffering a seizure and cardiac arrest. So there are good signs, though, for him.
CDC came out and said that heart-related injuries are up 900%. Men have been dying overseas on the soccer pitch. We have men dying in high school practices. We have DeMar Hamlin suffering a heart attack. We have Bronny James with probably the best medical staff surrounding the James family for the last 20 years, but somehow they missed a heart murmur.
Let me just
and
say
now
quickly,
we have this.
I was looking at something.
People need to start talking about it.
I agree with you, Anson. I just wanted to say he is awake. He is no longer. I was looking at an old report. He is awake and alert. He is now awake and responsive.
You know that there was 2 strokes in the NFL last year?
It's
You ever
terrible.
heard of a stroke in the NFL?
Yes.
You ever heard of a heart attack in the NFL?
Nope.
Unless it's, like Reggie Lewis, who already had an identified heart issue.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
it's time that people start talking about what's going on in the world, and I'll leave it at that.
Good for you. I totally agree.
I'd love to go much deeper, but it's Friday.
It's a Friday, dude.
That's a Wednesday conversation.
It's a Monday conversation. No doubt about it, my friend.
That is a Wednesday conversation for sure. Speaking of the Chiefs, this is a little under the radar, but I think it's going to be a big deal come playoff time and come winning time in the NFL in the month of December and January and maybe even February. Mecole Hardman has re-signed with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is a big signing for them.
Yeah. I really love it. It's super under the radar. What I remember from Mecole Hardman was how much they used this guy in their red zone package. Reverses, little screen passes. This guy was one of their best red zone and goal line weapons. It's a great addition to a wide receiver core that might be without their best wide receiver for half the season in Rashee Rice. So.
Yeah. I really like that signing for them. And again, familiarity, when you get a player that is familiar with his surroundings and the quarterback, I think that the biggest thing you can give a professional athlete is confidence, and the worst thing you can do is take it away. And I think just re-signing back at the place where you won a Super Bowl, and now you're back with Mahomes, you're back in your surroundings that are familiar to you. I think that's good. I think he'll get his confidence back, and I think he'll be a very significant player for the Kansas City Chiefs. How about the Vikings? Do you see these winter uniforms? Take a look. Get that up momentarily. the Winter Warrior alternate uni for the Minnesota Vikings. I love those. I think that's pretty sweet. I think I like all white uniforms, though. The Cincinnati Bengals all white was sweet.
They're cold as hell, I'll be honest, man. They look awesome. They're going to get real dirty when they come to Ford Field, but they are cold, man.
Hey, how about Justin Jefferson, too? Giving J.J. McCarthy all kinds of love at minicamp. Yeah. You see that?
I've been on record.
Now he paid. I bet he is.
He's going to be a better pro than Caleb. I will put my money on that.
Yeah, I think
and that's
so,
coming from
too.
a Spartan.
I think so, too. Last one for you here is in terms of the NFL. Bijan Robinson, expecting a McCaffrey-like workload in Atlanta. This is an interesting player to me. Bijan Robinson, I think he is a terrific player. Put a quarterback there with him. You've got some really dangerous weapons there as well. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, just to name a few.
Kyle Pitts about to explode. Get him on your fantasy team, people.
Absolutely. I think it's a really big deal. I think Atlanta's going to be a good football team this year.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are reading into the two quarterback as a problem. I don't see it that way. I mean, it wasn't a problem for Green Bay either time. I love that offense without Arthur Smith. I think that they could easily win that division over Tampa Bay.
No doubt about it. All right, guys, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to bring intern James in to talk about his football camp, some of the great things that he's doing. We'll touch on Tigers as well, series against the Milwaukee Brewers. They are home for 6. We'll talk about that. But first, a message from Wake Up Woodward.
That's right, everybody. You can join Wake Up Woodward, the morning show here, 8 to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, right here on Woodward Sports. Join our very own Kenny G, along with his cohorts Matt Broder, Sam Flannel, JB, and, of course, the great Kool-Aid. Again, Wake Up Woodward here on Woodward Sports Network every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. mornings.
Most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
Congratulations to the real coach of the year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
To any Lady Jane's haircuts for men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network, Ryan Ermanni, Anson Wells in today for Braylon, and I'm in today for myself. Kenny G is here as well. Pete Spivak is here. I did see, before we get to intern James here, I did see a report today that said that Xfinity and Diamond Sports were still nowhere near a deal to get done so that you can get your Tigers games on Bally Sports Detroit on Xfinity. I think it's one of the biggest crimes happening right now in sports media.
Can't even listen to it.
It is terrible. You can have the MLB app. You can't watch your local team. But again, yeah, I saw a report today that said that Diamond Sports, who is the parent company to Bally's, and again, this isn't a Bally's Sports Detroit thing. This is a 13 regional Bally's Sports networks who are owned by Diamond Sports, and having a problem with Xfinity, cannot get a deal done. Not looking good.
Nope.
Yeah.
I feel bad for White Sox fans. They probably don't get to see any games.
Right. I feel bad for Red Wings fans and Pistons fans who, well, maybe not Pistons fans.
I feel bad for me. I'm a Pistons fan. I still like watching. But
Right.
the fact that it's just so difficult to watch our own stuff. I just remember when the Lions had the same deal. If it wasn't sold out, and it wasn't going to be, it was a Silverdome, they weren't going to be on TV.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is a company that is going to go bankrupt.
Yes.
It's just unfortunate, the situation. It's literally affected a lot of teams, like you said, Diamond Sports. And shout out to Neil Rule. It's essentially the reason the Padres had to trade Juan Soto, this deal falling through. But eventually the teams are just going to have to do their own streaming. That just seems to be the route that is going. Maybe they could develop their own app and stream the games that way, but it's just unfortunate for people that want to watch their local sports.
No doubt, and I'll tell you, they're losing an entire generation of fans.
Yes,
you know,
Great
I mean,
point.
I think of my own kid. My own kid, you know, I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old who are not growing up watching Tigers baseball.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like they're just not doing it.
So much for America's pastime,
Right?
huh?
We watch the Dodgers. We'll watch the Dodgers and the Yankees
That's a fun
tonight.
watch, though.
Yeah.
The
You know
Dodgers
what I
are a
mean?
fun watch.
But again, like whatever game you can get.
Yeah.
All right. So intern James, I'm going to send it over to you. Intern James and his business partner, Terrence Lane, two greats from Grosse Pointe South High School from back in the day.
East Side?
East Side. You guys got a football camp coming up. Tell us about it.
Well, we're looking forward to it. It's our 3rd annual football camp focused on building football skills, talking about the recruitment process and talking about financial literacy, but a little bit different in terms of the football camp side of things is based on teaching kids the actual game and talking about some various techniques. T, why don't you tell them about some of the techniques we work on in terms of the football side of things?
Yeah, on the football side of things, really these techniques are based on positions. So we have coaches from all over the country, all college players, even NFL players that come in. We all just teach the kids based on their group, based on what position they play. And we go through a lot of techniques we've learned as college players that are a little bit different from like high school students or even as NFL players too. It's just an advanced level. It's more understanding, more like rooted in the understanding of what your technique is, when you use it, and like how to use it best to your ability. So
how do people get involved? Where do you want people to go? Where do people sign up? When is the camp?
Yeah, so it's for all high school kids, and we also have a youth camp on that Saturday as well. So the high school camp's June 28th through the 30th. June 29th is also the youth camp. It's at Baldock Park in Detroit, Michigan. 5271 Canyon Street, right there. And then you can sign up through our Instagram page, through our Eventbrite, or you can sign up through our website. So multiple ways to get involved.
What is your website?
Website is DewartCamps.org. Real simple, easy to remember. And then cost is $30 for over 3 days. So that will cover everything. T-shirt provided, as you can see the one I'm wearing here.
It's a really nice one too, by the way.
Athletic material.
I mean, that's not a cheapie.
Not a cheapie.
So was last year's. Last year's sweet.
We
Both
like
of them
that.
are.
Last year's ready to begin the climb, so that comes from the hill. So Baldock Park, there's a hill there. And what it kind of represents is we pull kids from all over Metro Detroit, not just the Grosse Pointe area, not just Detroit. But it's just kind of one of those where kids are able to meet each other in a place where they otherwise wouldn't, but also signifies that no matter where you come from, you're going to have challenges to tackle. And that's kind of why we do it there at that place, is it kind of brings back that old school feel, Ryan, as you mentioned. a lot of things are kind of lost for the kids nowadays, and we're trying to bring that back by having them kind of go up to the park and play football like they used to back in the day.
No doubt about it. And Terrence, I know for you guys have been doing this for a couple of years now, third year of doing this. Why did you start doing this? What was it that you guys wanted to do to provide back to the community and to get kids involved? Because a lot of pro athletes do it, a lot of maybe coaches do it at the college level, but very rare, I think, to have such a ground roots level community. Football players, you both have moved on to play college football and such, but nonetheless, what was it about you guys that you wanted to start this camp?
Yeah, I think the spark happened with the whole NIL change. And we never thought about it before because they're like, oh, we're so restricted. We can't do much with anything that we do as a college athlete. We just play. But that whole NIL repeal and we were able to do whatever, it just gave us a big opportunity. So I think it's probably during the off season, we just started talking. And our buddy Donald actually came up with the idea. At first, he's like, well, you should do a camp or something. We're like, I guess we can just do whatever. So at some point, we just started brainstorming. I think the first thing we came up with was the name. We're like playing on names, playing on puns and stuff. I'm like, oh, doer camps. We could do doers because we're like doers. And we're like, at some point, we actually kind of came up to a better point and better understanding of the name and why it meant something. Just being doers as a people, I think that's a culture, just being able to do things and not waiting to do it. And I think that's also what we embraced when we started out this program, because we're like, we're just going to do it. Why not? And it ended up being something really good, and being able to give back through that opportunity that we had to just do whatever with our name, image, likeness. And as college athletes, I think it was just a great opportunity.
And I think the other thing I just want to say is we were tired of complaining about a problem. We were tired of complaining about the fact. I think both T and I were ready for the terms of the physical aspect of the college game, but we weren't ready for the mental side of things in terms of, what is it like to be at the top of the depth chart one day and then you're at the bottom the next day? What is it like trying to take the jump from, from high school to college, then college to the pros, as both Terrence and I are currently working on trying to be professional football players as well, so still playing. But we also just want to be more than just what the rest of the camps are out there, which is typically, it's a fun day for the kids, a fun way to get exercise. We're really trying to make these players better and really do that over a 3-day period, but also give them the contacts and give them the tools to succeed in life and give them that blueprint. So it's not just a football camp. The whole mantra of be more than football comes from that, because we talk about financial literacy, we talk about NIL and making sure that kids understand the rules and it's best how to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you guys started off with doer, because I believe in doers. In fact, you're speaking to mostly doers right now. But that tends to kind of be a personality thing, maybe a part of your environment, but there's a certain type of person that's a doer, that's always out doing things and making things go. But it is about being more, and it's about taking that doer mentality and realizing that just doing it isn't enough these days, that there are so many more facets of becoming a professional. And I love that you spoke on the financial literacy and some other things. This is more than just hitting tackling dummies, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. Instead of just teaching kids in terms of, DN play, we're teaching them not just to, how to, tackle a tackling dummy or how to get a good pass rush. It's like, how do you set up a good pass rush move? What does a good first step look like? What are some good counter moves? What are some good power moves? Right? You're learning from Terrence Lane, and, his dad's also a big sponsor of the camp as well, played at the University of Michigan. And you're getting taught specific things that you can take back to your high school, that you can take to college, that you can specifically use. And you're not going to get there anywhere else, is because the coaches that come in are also from other places around the country. So we have coaches that played at TCU, some that have played at Colorado. So you're not just getting the Detroit coaches mindset, you're getting the coaches mindset from the South, out West, in the Midwest as well. So it's a lot of different thoughts coming together as one.
What have you learned through the first 2 years of doing the camp that that you really liked? And is there something that, hasn't worked that you're like, okay, we need to move away from this? So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
James, you want to take this? I don't know. You got it.
Yeah. I would say the one thing that has given me great joy is seeing the kids being able to. I see kids actually start a budgeting sheet. So it's like now they're actually understanding how to budget their finances and what that looks like. So taking something beyond just the football field, or having a college coach contact me and telling me of how ready X player was, and crediting the fact that their player credited our camp for that reason, is because they were learning things that they didn't learn in high school. Because unfortunately nowadays there's a lot of coaches who are coaching at both the college and high school level who didn't necessarily play football at a super high level. And I can tell you one thing, it's different having somebody who's talking about it who never played it versus somebody who has played it, can give you a different feel and a different reaction, and can give you a lot better analysis.
It's great stuff, man. You guys should be very proud of yourself. One more time, again, how do people sign up for this? Give them your Instagram. Give them the website once more. Spell the website for us.
Yeah, DOERCAMPS.org, DoorCamps.org, or go to our Instagram, Door Football Camp. Same thing for Facebook, Twitter, same thing across the board. Make sure to follow us. Can register through our Instagram or through our website. It'll be through our Eventbrite page right there. Only $30 over 3 days. Lunch is included in that. And, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Baldock Park, 5271 Canyon Street.
That's awesome, man. Great stuff. Terrence Lane, James Dewar, thanks so much. We appreciate it, man. You guys are awesome. Final moments of the program. Tigers with a 3-game series tonight in Milwaukee. Tonight at Comerica Park, they welcome in the Milwaukee Brewers. Tigers really with a nice road trip. 4-3 on the trip. They come back 31-31. They're a 500 team. Anson, is there any excitement level at all budding with this team, or is this just they're a 500 team, they'll sell at the deadline and come back next year?
Well, for a lot of years now, we've seen this Tigers team get off to terrible starts and then have a good finish to their campaign, to the point, well, hey, if these guys could have just started even just a little under 500, this would be a playoff team. So even if they don't make the playoffs, the intrigue and interest is real in this team. The rise is very real in this team. Harris has them playing well. He understands what this team needs. I think my biggest question is do you trade Flaherty? Do you try and ride this thing out and squeeze in? I'd love to get in that conversation. I know we don't have a whole lot of time now, but just the fact that you have somebody like Flaherty right now that in years past, this guy would have been gone, that we might keep him. It just tells you that we might be seeing some meaningful baseball here in Detroit in September.
It'll be fun. You might get a preview of the World Series tonight as well. It is the LA Dodgers at the New York Yankees. Wow. The Yankees have won 8 in a row. Best team in baseball, and the best team in the American League. The Phillies are the best team in baseball. They are incredibly on a tear. The Philadelphia Phillies, by the way, they're in London to play the Mets. 44-19. Excuse me. Wow. They're 44-19. The New York Yankees 45-19. So they are the best team in baseball. I was right about that. The LA Dodgers, 39 wins. But the Dodgers and Yankees, could there be a better picture-perfect World Series for a network than if the Dodgers and Yankees faced each other in the World Series? They'll face each other this weekend.
But then one of them can't lose.
Right.
And those two guys are real good. Those teams are real good at losing with super teams.
Yeah.
Not the World Series I want to watch.
I would be fascinated by it. Philadelphia is going to have something to say about that before it's all said and done. Now, we talked before the show, Anson. You are not a pony guy. You are not into the horse racing.
If it's on, I'll watch it. No, I like watching my dog run.
There you go. The Belmont Stakes, the third leg of the Triple Crown, happens tomorrow. If Maz was here,
I know he'll be watching.
Oh my God, he'll be so excited. He's actually, I think he's heading to Jersey.
Can we put? I don't know, Pete. Can we put his garage sale address up?
No, but that would be funny.
Maz is having a garage sale this weekend. That would be pretty fun to share that address.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, everybody pray for Maz, because I came from his house just before work, and he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off,
Oh my God.
like looking up prices of stuff and things like that.
That is so great.
Pray for Maz, everybody.
Belmont Stakes. I'm going to give you a winner. Okay. I know nothing about horse racing.
Is Mugatu in it?
I have no idea who that is.
He's not?
No, he's not.
Who's that?
Mugatu was my pick, the last one, purely on name alone.
And the only reason I'm going to pick this horse is because I see the trainer here is D. Wayne Lucas. I'm going to go with Seize the Gray.
Okay.
Seize the Gray.
Like that.
That's the winner of the
Pick a name here. Come on, Pete.
Pete,
you're the
you
expert.
know
Let's
about
hear
this.
some things.
Yeah.
Give me an update. Tell me about this
Seize
stuff.
the Gray, that's not a bad pick considering that he won the Preakness Stakes. And
he won the Preakness?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's.
I wish I would have picked him for the Preakness.
Well, then I think you did very well. I think that you got to watch out for Sierra Leone, and that's the horse that Maz and I liked in the Kentucky Derby. So Sierra Leone should probably win the Belmont.
There are some names that I do recognize: Sierra Leone, Dornock, Mystic Dan, Seize the Gray, Resilience. Those are all ponies that have run.
Yeah.
In these first two legs of the Triple Crown. So,
Yes.
Good stuff. Anson, great stuff, buddy.
It was great to do this with you for the first time,
I'm telling
friend.
you. And again, one more time, you're going to be at the card show at Novi Expo Center.
I will be. The Sports
Detroit
Spectacular.
Sports Spectacular.
That's right. And all 3 days. It starts at 3:30, so it's going on right now. Trade night is Saturday night, but the list of celebrities signing is pretty impressive. Headlined by Mr. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
The greatest tackler ever.
Oh, my God. Great stuff, guys. All right. KG, you got any great last words?
Nah, man. Let's have a great weekend.
Let's go.
See you Monday.
Go.
Great weekend. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. For Pete Spiva, Kenny G, Intern James, Terrence Lane, Intern Joel, Ryan Noah in the back, all the people here at Woodward Sports, Anson Wells, my man, you rock, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Likewise.
For Braylon and Maz, they'll be back next week. And for me, have a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody. Heavyweights coming up next.